Torture of the civilian population, which does not take part in an armed conflict, is considered a war crime.
The atrocities of the Rashists in Irpin and Buchi received worldwide condemnation, but torture, abuse, and executions of the civilian population take place throughout the occupied territory of Ukraine, retreating under the onslaught of the Ukrainian armed forces from the village of Verbivka in the Balakliia district of Kharkiv region. The occupiers, sweeping away the traces of their crimes, destroyed the Lyceum school, cynically transformed by them into a torture chamber during the occupation. The heroes of our film, her prisoners who survived, testify to the following.
I was led like this, once, and left.
Already 3 days after the Russians invaded our village, they knew for sure about each of us, all the information, where we worked, studied, what was the composition of the family.
They took me to this cage and kept me there for 2 days. One man was sitting in that cage, and a woman was sitting in that cage. I was here. They wanted to shoot me here first time.
The hero of our film, Alexander, has lived in Verbivka all his life. He was one of the first prisoners of this school torture chamber.
Here, by the way, traces of their crimes remained, in which weapons and shells were stored, which they fired at our peaceful villages. Nearby is Prishaib and the cement plant, which they were shelling. It is possible that it was from this box that they took shells and fired at our peaceful villages. I was put in a cage at the school, where there is a children's locker room. There is like a grate that the cleaning lady used to lock so things wouldn't disappear. I was put in that cage. Their head Dan came. Call sign Den. His name is Dennis. I understood that he is from Luhansk. Someone else is a sniper, Misha. They tried to shoot me. I was standing by the wall like that, at the site, saying, "Put the gun away. What am I running away? No, keep quiet."
The school was the center not only of rural life, but in general the center of our rural existence. This is simply horror, and shows that people do not feel sorry for either children or adults. They simply destroyed everything that was. That we are people for them, the cost is low. They put themselves above us.
What can be said about orcs? Freaks, there is no other word for them. This torture chamber was from the beginning here, and then in the basement.
First of all, the Russian invaders persecuted those who expressed a pro-Ukrainian position, did not renounce Ukrainian symbols, and resisted the invaders. They took away those who surrendered their advanced positions. They came by car at first. They had a car equipped with radars. 2 Russians were standing with machine guns. This radar was working. They were trying to determine whose mobile phone was working. We saw it through the crack in the window, and then they cheated. They walked with some devices. I heard that people were taken from our street who were allegedly handing them over. People tried to break into the water tower, and from there, they gave us information. They silenced the communication in our village. People tried to climb onto roofs, chimneys, and then they came and took them away.
Навіть до димарів добиралися, але потім вони приходили, забирали їх сюди ж до своїх оцих в'язниць.
Ніяких питань не ставили. Спочатку мене хорошо одлупцювали, викинули.
They didn't ask any questions. They just beat me well, threw me in the cellar, and for 6 days I wasn't fed or given water. I wasn't taken out. I just sat there and that was it. Then they pulled me out. I thought that since we were watching TV on April 3rd, like in Buchi, they were taking us away to dispose of us. And why were we taken away?
Утилізувати, в общем. А зачем нас забрали?
Прийшла до бабушки. Бабушка каже,
I came to my grandmother. The grandmother says, "They came yesterday. They took my father away." What to do? They went to the village council. They said, "We can't help you." We ask, "Where should we go?" They say, "Go wherever you want. Go to the city. Write papers there." We wrote a statement, went back, and they say, "Write what you want. It won't help you." We went every day, in the morning and in the evening. One day it got to the point that with one of their leaders I switched to high tones.
як? Перейшли на високі тона.
The relatives of the prisoners felt no less moral torture and tried with all their might to help their loved ones.
А у них пройшла ротація.
They had a rotation. I understood that they had not been handed over to them, and they again began to look for all fighters of anti-terrorist operation and look for everyone they don't like. They were not LNR people, they were Russians. And according to their uniforms, it was special forces. They were called special troops. I've already been taken away. Why the second time? We have a couple of questions for you, and that's it. They put him in a cell. It was the building of the Balakliia police station. There are cells for temporarily detained people. They brought him there. There were already 9 people there. The cell was 1.70 by 3.5 for 2, a toilet that did not work, and there were 9 people there. They asked where our positions were, where the patriots were, who had weapons. I say, how do I know? I am under occupation. Search for yourself. There was another time when he fell from the current. They put him on his knees, and with his legs, breeches, stood on his muscles. Twisted. There was horror. At the interrogation, there were 3, perhaps 4 of them. They even drove needles under their nails. It was a total disaster. Then you don't feel the pain, you convince yourself that this is the last time. Although they didn't shoot over the head like other guys. They simply came to the cells, dragged them out, beat them in the cells. There was one with the nickname Marat. Livestock was rare, in a mask, as in the movie The Mask. Looks like the evil character from that movie.
Маска така, от примерно похожа на того другого з маски злого. От така у нього маска, і він от приходиться було десь.
He comes somewhere around 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. He must have slept during the day, the bastard. Here in the middle of the night, he comes, opens the camera, and starts beating like a punching bag.
І починає як боксерську грушу бити.
The screams are terrible, even to the point of breaking the ribs. People were already falling. He opened the score. 1, 2, 3. That's it. You're done. Let's come to my office next. And already from there, screams could be heard.
Туди, в кабінет. І вводив, і там тільки чути було крики, і воплі, стони, і все.
Did he also talk to you?
No, he did not communicate. He had his own with whom he worked.
У кожного були свої, тих забирають.
In addition to physical abuse, the executioners also resorted to psychological torture.
They were mentally oppressed, shot every night. 2 nights. It was a horror. They get drunk, walk around with guns, shutters are pulled. Well, it didn't scare me. I was more worried about the children so that nothing would happen. Then suddenly Dan disappeared. After him, Babai was here. Livestock is rare. He was inclined me to cooperate. I said no. It was disgusting that you came to chat, and people were waiting for bread. He extends his hand to say hello. I was disgusted to shake his hand. If you don't explain to people, does that mean you are cooperating with them? People do not know the situation.
We have a village. Everyone knows everything. My relatives were also here. I cannot name them for security reasons. But it was very scary and very unpleasant. It is unpleasant to hear that people are being tortured. These were brutal acts. This firstly, and secondly, no one could believe. We are brothers. No one could understand how and what to do. We could not help. In addition to relatives who were going on a date, give food. This is the only time when it was possible to take some food to relatives to pass on. And that's all. We don't know anything else. No one was allowed there at all. Difficult tests fell to the fate of the heroes, but the hope for liberation, for the deoccupation of their native village, helped them bear them.
I called Yuri. Unfortunately, he died half a year ago during demining. He said, "Sanya, don't worry. In 2 or 3 days, we will meet you." That's how it turned out. I called him on the 4th, and we were released on the 6th. And when the guys I knew from Kraken came to me, to the place where I lived, I said, "Guys, take me home. I haven't been here for 4 months."
I got to the village council, but something happened to me. Yes, something like that. And I went further, to where my father lived. I arrive, and he is at home. This is not what joy is. There were tears and everything you want.
How long have you not seen each other?
7 months. She was small, so... Was it like that? Is it so? Big?
Not all prisoners survived the torture. Unfortunately, among the residents of Verbivka, there are those who have disappeared after the Russian capture.
We have one boy who has completely disappeared. Oleg Skomoroka. Still can't find it. We need to look for Hladky Pavlo and Vitalik. These 2 of us have disappeared. They can't find them. And there were 2 more volunteers.
Such bullying does not remain without consequences. Unfortunately, they greatly affected the health of our heroes.
Health is bad. Diabetes. That's all after the capture. I was a normal person weighing 60 kilograms. And now I was in the hospital with diabetes and a heart attack. Constant headaches, back, legs. Everything is as it should be.
Such crimes committed by the Russian Federation throughout our land leave no doubt about the inhumanity and inhumanity of this bloody aggression. They cannot be justified by any circumstances.
War crimes against humanity subject to international military tribunals. Given the exceptional gravity, such crimes have a statute of limitations not applicable.